The Russian President Vladimir Putin has condemned the Tehran terrorist attack. In a message to President Hassan Rouhani, Putin said such crimes prove the necessity to boost international cooperation in the fight against terrorism. He stressed Russia's resolve to further cooperate with Iran in combating terrorist groups. France, Syria, Afghanistan, Turkey, Norway, Pakistan, Iraq, Italy, the UAE and Qatar have also condemned the twin attacks in Tehran. Lebanon's resistance movement Hezbollah has blasted the attacks. The UN Security Council also held a minute's silence. The European Union Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini has expressed solidarity with the Iranian people. A group in the European Parliament said that terrorism knows no boundaries and the fight against it requires unity. Investigative journalist Tony Gosling joins us from Bristol. When you heard about this multiple terrorist attacks that happened in Iran, two of them in two different locations, what was your initial reaction, Tony Gosling?
Well, it's pretty shocking that ISIS has now decided apparently to be targeting Iran as well. Although I suppose since they're losing in Syria, this sort of thing is to be expected, you know, potentially attacks elsewhere. But the trouble is that when ISIS claim something, as they have done today, you have to ask questions about those claims. The Manchester attacks, when ISIS claimed those from Britain here, we heard from ISIS that there were several bombers, that there was nobody martyred in those claims. That was in Manchester. More recently in London, when ISIS claimed the attack on London Bridge, they got the wrong date. So you do have to question the sources of these. And in fact, ISIS themselves have questioned, particularly SITE, Rita Katz is as a source, saying that actually that she's just taking it from elsewhere and that she's not reliable and that she's spinning stuff. So when there's an ISIS claim, we have to question that first of all. But look, let's go back to basics here, because we cannot stop terrorism. We can have a great deal of security, we can have a lot of police on our streets, but the whole nature of terrorism is effectively that almost anybody could do this. If they can get hold of guns, explosives, they can kill people. We need to understand that. But what is the definition of terrorism? It is that these people should supposedly be non-state actors. So that's people who are of no state at all. They don't have a government supporting them. And the trouble is that many terrorists nowadays do have governments secretly supporting them. For example, covert operations. We had Operation Gladio in Europe in the 1980s, where NATO intelligence services were helping terrorists, fascist cells, to terrorize Europe. And it's quite clear that the main agencies doing this in the world today are Mossad, the CIA, and MI6 are covertly funding groups, fanatic cells, in order to cause geopolitical changes. So that's one thing we need to really be careful at. Are these people self-inspired terrorists, or are they being supported by a state? And I would say almost certainly the latter. That's certainly the proof with MEK, the previous group of terrorists that Iran has had to deal with, supported by the CIA and actually supported by the French intelligence too.
Thank you for that, investigative journalist Tony Gosling from Bristol.